So, quick introduction about this panel to those who might not know. Um, Later this year, the American University of Cairo is launching a very special course, um, mastering a restaurant. It's called the Restaurant Business Management Program. And why it's interesting is because for so long, we really didn't have an infrastructure or a kind of toolkit for up and coming restaurateurs, entrepreneurs, young chefs, people really wanting to join the industry for the first time. Oftentimes you speak to people and they're like, I really want to start my own, my own bakery, but I don't know where to start. Do I find a chef? Like, do I manage the logistics of like the ingredients first? Like, where do I begin? So that's a very interesting thing that's happening this year. It's obviously powered by Marakez, which has been for such a long time. Like I call them a bit of an incubator because like if you've been to any of their destinations, they're just very good at like putting together these like nascent brands that are just local and they've got absolutely brilliant stories to tell. So that's to begin with. On this, the program itself is curated by these brilliant women. We have Engy Radwan, who is the founder of Everything Restaurants. We also have Yasmin Khalil, who's basically masterminding the actual program itself, kind of working very closely to bring theory and like the real life expectations of what it takes to work in hospitality in Egypt to the table. And then we have Nadia Ezz, who's obviously the executive PR and marketing director at Marakez, who again works so closely with so many of the upcoming brands. So my first question to you, I briefly touched on that, but with the market in Egypt growing so rapidly, why was it important to create this program and to create it now specifically, rather than like 5 years ago or another 5 years down the line? I'm going to start with Yasmin.
Hello, everyone. Let me get back to one point that just Farida said. This market is really enticing and attractive to many. It's growing really fast. If you know the numbers, we're now at sector size of around $10 billion. We're expecting to increase into about 20 in 5 years. So you could imagine how fast and how attractive this would be for young entrepreneurs, investors, people who would just like to jump on this boat and make some successes like everyone else. However, if you think about it from a business perspective, like Romas, we work in business education. This sector might be, if it's left like that without a foundational body providing education, not providing some fundamental business information to those who are just joining this sector, I think it would be very risky to the sector and to whoever is joining. We want this success to continue. We want this sector to prosper, and we want this growth to take its full size in a healthy and a sustainable manner. That's why we at the university we pinpointed, hospitality needs some kind of high level education for professionals after they graduate and they just want to. This is the business I'm going to have my sight on. Okay, we at AUC have this role. We like to participate in programs in which we have an impact, and we actually thought that it's about time. We put some input into giving some academic, not say academic because it's not an academic program in the typical way or traditional way, but just give some business foundational support to entrepreneurs and investors who are planning and who are wanting to be part of this enticing and attractive sector. But that's where the idea came from. And that's why we decided that's about time.
Amazing. I know, Inji, you've been working for so long with so many restaurants. You've endured the highs and lows. You've seen what it's like to be on a Friday morning when the restaurant's just opened and they're trying to serve breakfast to like 300 people. And so I really want to get your input on why you thought this was such a great opportunity for AC now.
Well, for someone who has been working in this business for almost 22 years now, I have seen that if I give you any name of any of the big brands that are open right now, if you ask the owner how they learn, they would tell you we learn by trial and error, by making mistakes, by just trying this for now and then trying another thing later. So they lack the idea of having a structure and a framework of where to start. Do I need to find a good location first, or do I hire a chef to make me a good menu? When do I hire people? When do I start branding? How to approach developers for renting a location? So it was all a bit messy, and this is where they go to consultants at the end of the day, because they need the structure and they need the framework to have everything done right and to avoid mistakes as much as possible. So it hit me that the market is ready for the structure and this framework, and this program with AUC is like the toolkit, like you said, for everyone who wants to start the business. And there are a lot of, like Yasmin was just saying, everyone wants to own a bakery or a restaurant or whatever. So how do I do it? How do I do it the right way and avoid all the mistakes? Especially that at this time, at this age and time we live in, everything is very, very expensive, and investment in restaurants is very, very expensive now. So at least have something that would show me the way of doing things right.
Absolutely. And I know, Nadia, you have a very personal kind of relationship with this. So if you want to share your input.
Okay. Hi. Well, first, I'd like to thank everyone for being here, and thank definitely Cairo Food Week for doing this opportunity and bringing flavors from all over the world here and bringing international chefs to, this is like the grand scale. It's bringing international chefs to local chefs to continue this learning process. And first, in Marakez, we're a developer. So a lot of you are thinking, what the hell? What is a developer doing? Bringing, why are they even talking about food? But in Marakez, we build communities. And when you build communities, you bring people together. And what better way is bringing people together other than over a meal, sharing food, sharing experiences? So that's where it started. Our journey started a bit back when we first sponsored Cairo Food Week 3 years ago. And then last year, we took it a notch further by sponsoring £1 million menu with more food. And then finally this year, we took it even further because everyone I know and I meet, and I have a lot of very personal friends who it took them 10 years, 8 years. Today, they're one of the most successful names in the market. They have the biggest businesses, the biggest restaurant chains, the biggest cafes, but they all tried and failed and failed and tried, and it was so hard for them.
The journey could have been shorter.
Way shorter.
And less challenging.
And less challenging, because today it's even more challenging, because not only do you have more competition, you also have Gen Z who are demanding, who are not forgiving, who want more, and who are going to go digitally and, kill your business overnight if you do something wrong. Mm-hmm. So I think it's from your dream, I want to have a restaurant or a cafe, till you reach that, by giving them such a program, you shorten the gap, and you definitely make their gap easier to launch, and you give them tools, digital tools, learning tools, and I think that's brilliant. So maybe, I don't know, back to Farida, you can tell us more.
No, actually, we were talking about this earlier, and everyone is talking, and they're like, oh my God, this digital marketing age is so hard. Like, how do you guys do it? And then I asked them if they've seen Laporte's TikTok, and I don't know if anyone's seen Laporte's TikTok.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So to those who might not know, Laporte is like a legacy patisserie. It's like a dessert. It's everything. It's culture and it's home. And they're recently taking on this like Gen Z kind of marketing model of creating TikToks live from their storefront. And it's so interesting to see. So I wanted your take on that, because I know, like you said, we are very demanding as a generation. I also feel like we want people to speak our language. We don't want to learn anyone else's language, socially and offline as well. We expect everyone to understand all our colloquialisms. So how is it like navigating that through this course, but also through like your own experiences working with restaurants, working with chefs, working as developers?
I could chime in on that. The Gen Zs actually are the one riding the wheel right now. They're riding our cars. They're leading everything. However, that makes it, again, backfiring on the sector itself, because restaurants are just like, they have to keep up with the trend all the time, and they have to keep their spirit live and dynamic and full of life, let's say. So when we started to think about this program, we want to keep it chaotic. We want to keep the same energy and the same spirit, and we wanted to blend it and keep it like light and not long. It's a 5-week program. It's very short. It's very light. It has it's not even expensive because we wanted it to be accessible to everyone. It's an after-work program. It's blended in workshops and digital components and not case studies as per se, and academic case studies, like reflections on what's the success and the failures in the market. And it has an Egyptian flavor, and it has a digital component, and it has a technical component. It is chaotic in its nature, but it is the lovely side of chaos in order to keep to provide the support entrepreneurs would like to have in order to navigate this age and to navigate this sector and to work with this kind of customer who is like Nadia said, is unforgiving. And
We're slightly forgiving.
Not really.
Not really.
Not really. No, and
I'm
also,
not forgetful.
Yeah, they're not forgetful, not forgiving, and they definitely want more. They don't want just food. They want to go to a place that's nice, that's aesthetically Instagrammable for sure.
Yes.
To say I was here in this cafe, so if there is a cafe that looks nicer than another one, that's the one that you're going to go to. And if it has to have matcha, correct me if I'm wrong.
All variations of matcha, which I've come to learn are too many. To White Cloud matcha.
Actually, we cannot ignore Gen Z as being the main audience, like everyone is saying. You are the future of everything now, and all the restaurants are either building concepts tailored for Gen Z, or the old ones are changing what they are selling or what kind of service they're selling to cater for Gen Z. Because you, as everyone has been saying, your expectations are very high. You're very well aware. You're tech savvies, and you're not looking for the perfect burger. You're looking for the TikTok moment and the vibes you get and the new place, and you just want to be aware of everything that's happening around you. And it's very, very difficult to please you because you're looking for the next better thing. You're looking for the next burger place, the next burger or a shop or whatever. So, and using the digital marketing, and this is something that we discuss in one of the classes, and we bring in speakers to make it even real, to discuss how digital marketing actually builds brands or kills brands. Because until today, we find some brands who are not interested in being on Instagram, and they rely on the product itself, and this is not longer the game. It's not going to happen. So, having Gen Z as your main focus will drive everything into the right direction. And this is something that we talk about a lot in the program, for sure.
Farida, if I can just add, I think, Kamen, what's really important about Gen Z is I don't think it's just that they demand stuff. I think they're so tech aware. So if there's a brand that has good digital campaigns, I've seen, because being a developer and developing malls, we've seen like the GLA of the food business grow from 30 to 40 and ongoing, towards more and more, because people want to linger more, stay more at the mall. And if you are smart digitally, like I've seen the opening of Fatty's when it's a donut place, and there were queues, and I was like, what are they doing? And it's just, she had an incredible campaign online. So there was a queue, an unbelievable queue, and they're just smart. They know what to do.
It's actually one of the first brands to use content marketing and just relating to the customers and creating this emotion. Yes. And she's done it brilliantly, of course.
It's an experience. So they're looking for an experience, and they're also looking for local brands. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for locals if they know the know-how and the talent, because the Gen Z, they don't care. They're not looking for an international brand that's going to come here. They're looking for something that relates and resonates with them. So I think the local brands know how to touch that. So I think that's where the trend is going.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's just in F&B. I think it's in fashion too.
Retail.
So I think we've seen that grow. From a business, the local brands are overtaking even the international brands, which is amazing.
Yes, and this is something actually that we discuss in the program: local brands versus franchises and international brands. We are not against international brands expanding in Egypt or anything, but creating something from scratch has its beauty, and it has its flexibility, and you can take everything and tailor it your own way and create your own character.
And as
So
Nadia
we
was just saying, we have a lot of content for that.
Of course, yeah, definitely. And we're just setting the foundation for the basics that you need as an entrepreneur to start your business, and then you can take it and do whatever you want with it. So we're just customizing. We're giving you the toolkit, and then you can customize it the way you want, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I also really enjoyed that you brought Fadi's into this conversation because she's so interesting. Like her model itself is so well curated. She wakes up in the morning, she makes a new batch that she wants to try. By the end of the day, everyone's already tried it. And then the next day, she knows exactly how to improve it. And so as a business, like, and as a person, because she is her own business, she just kind of bypassed a lot of like the everyday kind of, I guess, struggles that a restaurant might go through, which is like, can you please like fill out this form to tell us like how good we are today? And so I guess
yeah, she sold the
That's gone,
experience.
that's
I
gone.
guess I think whoever her customers is, the youngsters, like, they are just looking for the association to the brand. They're not looking for the product. They don't care about how the donuts taste or what it. They just want to say that we got this product that has a lot of effort put into it, that its owner woke up in the morning and walked us through the whole thing till we reached our mouth. Her model is unique, and again, that adds to the fact that young entrepreneurs entering this business are embracing the creativity aspect of things. Let's help them do that better. That's what, in a nutshell.
my next question to you, which is a bit of a, I guess, like a selfish one, because all of my friends are traveling abroad and they're going to study the culinary arts in Paris. And they're all like, I'm going to be the best pastry chef. And they're like working 12-hour shifts in a kitchen and learning there. And then you're hoping that they come back because you're like, I want my friend back, firstly. Secondly, I want this talent. I want them to open the bakery here. I don't want them to open it anywhere else. I don't want them being poached or headhunted. And so something like that is very hard. And so creating an infrastructure that is as a toolkit is one thing, but also how do you then convince them that this market is worth staying in? And is something that they can actually flourish if they get right. Because we spoke about, the Egyptian flavors and how you're really not kind of flattening that creativity with anyone. You're letting them explore where they fit best. So how do you do that? How do you bring them back? How do you teach them and keep them here?
Engy would be the perfect one to answer this question.
Actually, with the program gives them, like we said, it gives them the tools. And one of the triggers that made me actually look into creating this program was that we do not have that entity, the educational entity that incubates this kind of industry, because like you said, everyone is going abroad to France, to Italy, to Switzerland, even to Dubai to get the right education, especially on the culinary part of business. But how do the entrepreneurship part of business is not even something that we have in a formal or a structured format here. So it would be easy to convince them to actually do that, because we're bringing in guest speakers or field experts who have been in their shoes at some point in time, and they paid a lot of money and they traveled. And of course, there's the beauty of traveling and getting exposed to other cultures and so on. But if you have something here for those who cannot afford it, or their circumstances are they have certain circumstances that they cannot travel or whatever. So if you give them this kind of education here by experts, by field experts, and related to an entity like AUC and powered by a developer like Marakez, everything just gives them gives this program the credibility, and they would trust it even more to have something here, because the program the program we created is 100% Egyptian. It's tailored for the Egyptian market, because every market has its own characteristics and its rules and its legalities, and it's different. So if you have something here that is tailored for the Egyptian market, that can help them apply directly to their businesses later on, that would make it much more easier, of course. So this is something that we focus on during the program. It's everything that you see here in class is going to be applied directly into the market. And we do not rely on textbooks. I could have easily gotten the programs from university abroad and just applied and just taught it to the students here, but it's going to be it's a different program. It's hands-on, it's practical. We have field trips, and we have speakers talking, and we have very, very practical approach on everything in the program. Yeah.
Absolutely, Nadia.
I just want to add to that. There's also sheer numbers. You are in Egypt, and it's a growing market. We grow 2 million people yearly. So no other market is this fast growing, and 50% of the population is less than 30 years old. So you're talking about a lot of Gen Z, a lot of potential. So I think if you're talking sheer numbers, definitely it's good getting the experience abroad, but I would definitely come back because the opportunity is insane.
Yeah, and adding to that, and what Nadia and Engy has just said, we have our own recipe. Yani, we are prioritizing the Egyptian market because we are not far behind other leading markets like in Dubai and stuff. I think we are at par, maybe are coming, we can actually go at the first place if we are competing, but we're not. We deserve this spot, and we have the potential, we have the numbers, we have the target group, we have the investors, we have the appetite, but we have our own recipe as well. So we want just to not rely on the international programs or international experts. They bring in a flavor, but again, we have our own recipe of how things should be done in order to succeed with our customer and our people and our norm. So this whole experience, as everyone has just said, we're prioritizing the local market. We're prioritizing the local investors, Egyptians, and of course from the region. And we have this in mind, as we all. You could think about it from all perspectives, from a content design, from a support, from a developer, from us at AUC. We are just working together with this mindset in mind. We want to keep the local talent here, and we want to be the one benefiting from this passion that they have.
And Egyptians love to eat.
Yes.
If anything, we love to eat. We travel to eat. We go to different countries. The first thing you get, can you send me the names of the good restaurants that you've been to? I personally am very lucky to have been to this Frutar in Barcelona, and he's here with us. And I managed to make my son, who's 18, sit through a 3.5-hour meal with 30 courses, and he loved it. So it's about experience, and it's about food. So definitely, there's potential.
That's just wholesome, guys. I don't know what to say. Yes, I wanted to come back to.
Well, yeah, we have these are hopes and dreams that we're trying to put into reality, but the program is still young. We're still launching it. We're trying to get the word out to the right people because we do have hopes and dreams that it would be of an impact. It is truly something different and unique.
So everyone who has a dream to open a bakery, a restaurant, a cafe, I think definitely you should reach out to this program.
Give us 5 weeks of your time.
Yes. Give them 5 weeks.
Okay.
You have a registration? You have a registration booth here?
Yeah, we can. Yes, that would be lovely.
Actually, ironically enough, our CFO, she was Marakez for years, like almost 9 years, and she left, and she's doing her own brand of sauces, pasta sauces. So,
Interesting.
So there are people who, more and more people. So I'll tell her about your program for sure.
Please, yes.
And on the topic of that as well, because actually, in the panel, you kind of briefly touched on that. This idea of how do you create a space where you can not only just preserve your cultural meals and your dishes, but how can you create new ones? Because our common dialogue now is the language of the internet. And so once there's a paratha burger that virals in London, it's now in the UAE, and it's already open in Egypt, and then I don't know where it's going to go next, but potentially back into the European stratosphere. Same with so many things. So how does this program then encourage people to think, like you said, about local flavors, and then build something that is entirely dedicated to, obviously it can't exist in a vacuum, but can be more dedicated and tailored towards creating food history and creating an environment that really just is about telling that story?
Actually, the panel before the last, when Chef Mustafa was talking about the enormous amount of ingredients that we have in the Egyptian market and in different cities, and it's all we have a lot of culture and a lot of beauty in our culture that we can use and just build something beautiful on. And we don't have to follow trends just for the sake of trends. And this is where being smart about your digital campaigns or your digital approach to your audience. You have to know where to start and how to start. And this is something that we discussed during the program, is following trends has its ups and downs. So you have to be smart about how you use that. And we have seen a lot of brands who have created trends and then they collapsed like right away. The sudden expansion of brands to 10 and 20 branches within a year, and they collapse because they just follow a trend after a trend after a trend in a non-smart way, if we can call it. So there has to be a way of governing that, or working with the right people, or the right agencies, or the right content creators to help you reach that goal. So like the rise of trends, I think it's just it's a bit risky.
I think not only I think away back from all the digital. I think what the program is going to give the students, which is super efficient, is this tool. So it's about food supply, service, atmosphere, the climate in your restaurant. So I think that you're going to touch on all the different aspects of this dream.
Of the steps that you're going to follow.
There's so many steps. So I think it's not like, I can do a great banana cake. I'm going to open, a pastry shop. No, it doesn't work that way.
Everything from the financial study to HR to suppliers to marketing, and we work on we have a field trip to one of the restaurants for the menu development part, and we have a guest speaker chef working with us to just give an idea to people, to the students, of what to expect during the menu development phase, because it's like the core of the business. So they're going to go into a kitchen and look at how it looks like, what kind of equipment is there. Of course, it's going to be tailored to the different concepts. Like it's different from a bakery to a sushi shop or a coffee shop or whatever. So it's going to be different, but they're going to actually see the stuff and talk to experts to know more about the details and what to expect when they start their business. Because as consumers, what we see from restaurants is just the nice venue and maybe the coffee machine and the decoration.
You want to show them the behind the scenes.
Yes, we want to show them the behind the scenes, because it's complicated. It's not easy. There is an army working behind the kitchen just to give you that cup of coffee or that dish. A lot of things were involved, from supply chain to service to employees. To a lot of details have gone into that dish that you don't see as a consumer. You just see the nice part, which is actually what attracts people to owning a restaurant, because they see just the nice parts at the beginning. But when they go into details, some clients, they actually get overwhelmed by the details involved in this industry, and they said, we never knew that this process is that long, and there are a lot of stakeholders involved, and it takes them a while to digest all that and put that into the right format to start the business. So there's a lot involved, more than marketing or more than the trends they want to follow, of course.
I know Yasmin feels very passionately about this.
I want to add just something. And that's why when we thought of this program and we talked with Engy and she had the idea and we brought things together, we thought that we need a support arm. We need a sponsoring body who has a success story when it comes to restaurants and when it comes to F&B in general. And of course, Marakez, where they chime in that. They have this heavy role of providing us with access to in every round with one of their projects or one of their tenants, and for example, having us as guests in order for a field visit. They are happy to do that, and that's because we at the university, we don't have access to that. We had to have a partner who would help us in that, in order to bring this formula of this, like whatever they're learning in class, they're having in practical life, they're seeing it, they're experiencing it. And of course, in order to keep what Farida's just saying, we want this creativity fed in, and we want the program to have this, let's say, spirit out of it. So we're actually working hand in hand together. We all three, like the expertise, the Marakez as a support arm, and as for opening their projects for us, and with we as the body and the academic part. Again, and in order just to embrace this spirit, in order to encourage whoever is interested into this sector with their spirit, with their, I think that's their personality, that they are just not people of education, or they finished خلاص خلصوا تعليم مش عايزين نتعلم تاني. We had to encourage them and nudge them that our program is powered by a success story. Please join us and give us an opportunity. That's what we're going to do. Answering your question.
Yeah, and I know you guys will connect people to investors. I think by the third session, they're gonna get an opportunity to start pitching. There's £1 million menu involved. There's a lot. It's not just books, y'all.
There's no books, actually.
There's literally not a single book. And so my final question to you is, how do you see something like this kind of changing the way investors look at the local market? I think it's very hard to raise funds unless, you're working with Marakez. Very lucky. I'm jealous. Unless you're working with them on something like this, how does a restaurant, do that? And especially a restaurant that's very rooted in the now, but also the local.
If you look at the market, like 10 years ago, investors used to put their money on brands just out of passion or out of the nice food that they tried during a tasting session, or a nice presentation put together by the person pitching the presentation to them, and it was never a calculated opportunity. But with this program, the investors will be more encouraged to put their money into something that has been created into a structure and a framework, as we mentioned. So it will give them it will give the projects. And actually, let me go back to the point of the projects themselves. As of session 3, students are going to actually work on a project, a real project, whether it's a hypothetical brand that they have in mind, or actually something that they came to this program and want to start. So they're going to work on a complete business plan and a pitch deck for investors later on, and they're actually going to be graded for that. So back to the investors part. Investors are now they can take these projects and look at them more confidently, because they know these people have done their work. They have gone through the whole process. They have talked to people. They have put together a nice plan, a good financial study, and they're ready. They're actually ready for success. So it's going to be more encouraging for investors to put money on something that was done properly than just because this person makes the best pasta dish or whatever. So it's now more credible for investors to invest smartly, because everything, as we said at the beginning, everything now is very expensive, and investors want to not guarantee, but at least have some faith in that this project or this concept is bound to succeed.
Yasmin?
I just want to add just one point, is that it would, whatever they are offering to whoever is going to provide the funds, I think it would be in a much more formal and organized context than if you're doing it out of, you're just asking someone, or you're doing it your own efforts, or you're dealing with your own organic searches. It will just have a better shape, a better output, a better well-formed and well-structured. So I guess investors would like to see something like that in order to have answers to the questions that they may have. It's not about like, I just completed this program, I'm eligible. No, it's just about I know how to do it in a much more structured, with a business foundation, so I can pitch it right. That's it.
Nadia, do you have anything to add?
For us at District 5, we're more of the incubator. So we want more and more people, doing businesses and coming and opening up, and we're lucky to have that, because we saw D5 is designed for the Gen Z. It's young, and it's walkable. So you have the workforce there. There's a lot of office buildings. There's residential, so you can go down, have a lunch, and go back. So all these young F&B places are working. It's just very vibrant. So the more concept, we're ready, and we're happy to have concepts that actually are studied and calculated, so the investment makes sense. So it's not trial and error. It's actually feasible and, like you said, very credible.
Actually, can I add something? I had one of my clients. He's a young gentleman, and he came to my office, and he was asking me all these questions about how guaranteed is it? How can he guarantee success? And he told me something. I have to quote in Arabic. He told me, "إنجي أنا واخد الفلوس من أبويا عشان أعمل المشروع ده. If I lose the money, أنا بس مش بس بخسر فلوسه، أنا بخسر ثقته." And it hit me right there. It's like a lot of responsibility to how you spend your money and how people take risks when they start their projects. And في الوقت ده it's not cheap, and it's not something that it's not the extra money that I have I'm going to spend. Because going back to the Gen Z part, most of my clients for the past year and onwards are from Gen Z. They're entrepreneurs by nature, so they want to start their own business. So most of them go to consultants because with the money of their parents mostly. So the parent, as the investor, wants to guarantee that their children are not going to waste the money. They're not just taking it and spending it with no structure or no plan. So I usually talk to the parents because I have to come. Yeah, this happens a lot lately, and I talk to the parents.
Funding body.
Just I have to convince the dad that I'm going to spend your money wisely, and that your son is in good hands, and he's going to do something successful. And some of them actually turned. They were encouraged to join the program. So in the program, I'll have students and clients at the same time.
Lovely.
So that would be fun, definitely. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much. Before we end, does anyone have any questions? Any of our amazing panelists?
I teach at AUC, by the way. I teach color. Yes. My question is to Engy, because you were discussing Gen Z. They rule the world. I forecast color. So in forecasting trends, you need to understand where the world's going, how it's being shaped, and definitely everything is roams around Gen Z. Scamena, in the next couple of years, there are two color trends that are around grounding Gen Z and the older generation. انت نسيتينا خالص. طيب
لا مش انا.
انت نسيتينا خالص. طيب احنا
انا
نعمل
ما
ايه؟
رضيتش اقول كده بس
احنا نعمل ايه؟
I'm from the same generation, so I feel your pain. I know.
I'm older, but the thing is, the most Instagrammable, one of the most successful restaurants in London is Sketch London, designed by no one other than India Mahdavi, Egyptian, Persian, French. And people go there because it's the most Instagrammable restaurant in the world. Because it was pink, now she turned it into yellow. The food is good, but people go for the laqta. People go for the shot. But in Egypt, one of the most successful restaurants in Egypt, I'm not going to mention any names, really is not Instagrammable. The food is excellent. The queues are endless, and the restaurants around it, whether in Park Street or in Waterway, are spillovers of this restaurant. It's not Instagrammable, but the food is excellent. So I hope that in the program, I did not know this program existed at the UC, but I hope that in this
starts
program,
in November. Actually.
d'accord.
just recently launched.
That we tell people that it's about the food as well, because لو جم خدوا اللقطة and they came and but they did whatever they want to do as a picture, they TikToked it, Instagrammed it. People would always come back for the food and not only for the laqta, because then your business will be crawling, because you were saying that it's very important to keep the trend. And if you only focus on trend, you will never get there. What are you doing as a program, or how are you including it to tell them that consistency, service, and the quality of actually the food is extremely important, and not only the laqta of Instagram and TikTok?
Yeah, I totally agree. And actually, we as a generation, we go for the food. I don't go for the Instagrammable moment anymore. And so restaurants, the old restaurants or the brands that have been there for a very long time, they still cater to our generation or even older generations. But the thing is that we see that some of the brands حتى القدام جدا they changed the menus شوية إنه يبقى في حاجات للجن Z because they cannot ignore them. They're like Farida was just saying.
They're
like,
the majority.
Nadia was just saying.
They rule the world.
They rule the world.
Of course.
So you cannot ignore them.
And
but
Loewe is one of the most important fashion brands in the world that became super successful very quickly because of J.W. Anderson. Actually, you work in fashion, so targeting literally Gen Z, and everyone is imitating them. And then Jacquemus as well started this. So these are the two most important fashion brands because they actually target Gen Z, but they're telling them that it doesn't have to be expensive. The quality has to be good and it's consistency. I hope that. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, in the program, we're not going to be ignoring the importance of having good food, but it's actually not what it's not what everyone is looking for anymore. Even this is something that we have to acknowledge, that people go out in general, different generations, they still go out for the whole experience. So we've seen restaurants who drive away customers because of their employees. And this is another pain that every restaurant owner would agree on, that your people, the team can actually drive people away from your restaurant. So we tackle all the pillars of the restaurant or the hospitality industry in general, with a focus on what's happening in 2025 onwards. So we're definitely not ignoring them, and I will be going back and forth between the generations because I'm not sure how many Gen Zs will be in the program versus older one, for example. So I'll have to be focusing on both of them at the same time. So don't worry, أنا فاهم تقلقش.
I just want to add something to what Engy has just said. Just actually, what we have in mind, and what we all share, is that we want to provide whoever is going to study this program or to go into this program with the components of the game, how to play it and how to make your business sustainable regardless. You should be smart enough to know what is the role of each, and you play it like how it goes. Because sometimes maybe in 10 years you want your business to be here and Gen Zs won't be anymore your core target group, and you have to be smart enough to play it right. What we're trying to do is we give them the pieces of the puzzle, how to play the game, and you should put your input and create and be sustainable in some sort.
Yeah, and to me, to answer your question, I thought that the food part was a given. Sustainability is not something negotiable. It was a given. It's consistency, and I know the restaurant you're talking about, but it is consistent.
Which one?
Mishrif.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're consistent. They have cues. They don't have a lot of Gen Z, and they have a lot of shisha that's really good too, that adds to the component, just to give people, which is another thing.
They have a winning formula, yeah.
That's a winning formula for it then.
Yeah. Thank you all so much. Oh, there's another question?
And actually, I'd like to thank Maha Farouk.
Thank you, Maha.
She's the one who connected the three of us together.
Yes,
so
she's the ultimate matchmaker.
She makes amazing cake.
Yes, thank you, Maha, for bringing such a program and coming to Marakez. Really, thank you.
You had a question, Emma? Yes, we will never sacrifice food. والناس شريف شيف مصطفى يزعلوا مني حتى لو قلت ان انا will ignore food, ما هو مش هينفع.
Thank you. I was going best to say no, the quality of the food and how good is it is from the babies to the oldest person. You will always come back because the food tasted good. And يعني not mentioning names عشان ما زعلش حد, but there is a brand that you've been talking about after standing in the queue for a very long time. I couldn't even finish the product and I will never go back again. Although they're always adding new flavors and so on, people are always excited, but I will never go back. Once I taste the bad quality, I will never go back. And I once heard a quote that is saying that for a person who's working on a food business, you have to transform your customers into your marketing people. So when I taste a good food, it's me doing the marketing for myself. I go back again and again and I tell people the quality, of course, it beats the trend every time. Yeah.
Like Nadia was saying, food is a given, so we're not going to sacrifice that at any at any
يعني بس حسيت ظلمت شوية Gen Z هم لا بيروحوا عشان لقطة لا يعني our kids are ranking restaurants according to the food quality, of course.
Their critiques all the way, definitely.
Yes. Thank you guys for this amazing course. Yeah.